going on? It's Asher coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. I'm not alone, joined again by Deadwood Jedi. Deadwood, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. Good to see you. As always, a pleasure to be here.
It's a super pleasure, and you guys let us know what you think of the video, because a little inside baseball here. I hate to say it, but it's the truth either way. We just recorded the video, and then I got a blue screen of death at the very end, and the file was corrupted, so we're gonna do it again.
Help me. I never asked for this.
But as a sign of gratitude from my viewers to Deadwood Jedi, please give the guy some love. It's so justified. Not just his website, but his YouTube channel, his Twitch. All that information will be in the show notes below. So go ahead.
Come to me, baby. Oh, come to me, baby. Come to me, baby.
My ask to you guys is give Deadwood some love. If you're not already, you know, obviously, I assume like everybody uses your site and your YouTube channel, because you break down all these compositions, all these clan boss champions, and much more as well. Speed tuning for anything in the game and beyond. But today we have you on talking about the traditional Demon Lord clan boss. You're going to give your top 15 champions for the current kind of meta, the zeitgeist of Raid Shadow Legends, who's being used, what new faces can we expect to see. So I guess I'll hand it off to you, Deadwood. Who's at 15? Any preambles here? Any thoughts?
Okay, yeah. Well, I figure, you know, we gotta have some thoughts, right? So First off, this is my list. It literally changed in between our recordings, so there's always some adjustment that go on, and you know, the specific team you run is definitely going to have an impact on what champions are most valuable for you. Putting this together, I want to take into account, you know, the teams that are being run. We run a lot of unkillable teams now, much more than we used to, so I feel like that has definitely an outsized impact on the types of champions we use. But I also want to make sure that, you know, I think there's more points for, you know, the more useful this is early game for a person too. It's not just about the best end game champion, but you know, some of that you can use regardless of where your account's at, and so that all factors into the thought process here on these teams. And I definitely left some people off the list, so you know, you can kill me in the comments, but know that I'm aware of that.
As we jump in, and I think that's a really good caveat, or kind of setting the table for the video. But as we jump in, what team do you run? Like, what kind of comp do you run?
I run a Myth Fu team that involves using Fushan as a lead champion. I use Turvold as my DPS, and then I have an Eris as well as Seeker and Demitha. And that team for me does on average somewhere between 100 and 115, 120 really now million damage on Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, depending on affinity.
Wow,
but that's
cool.
my favorite team. That's the one that's easiest for me to run, and I've been having a hoot running it. It's been good.
I bet. All right, sounds good. So let's go ahead and jump into the list here. Who do you have at number 15, Deadwood?
We're actually going to start with the guy that I was just naming, my DPS for my team. We're going to start with Turvold as number 15. I mean, he is one of the...
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
The top or the second top damage dealer for clan boss teams, depending on how you build the team and the team that you run. Just an incredibly good champion. The hard part with him, why he's so low, actually, is because he's become a little bit harder for more traditional teams. He's really only going to be viable for unkillable teams. He brings a weaken debuff, but that's it. So he's really just doing damage for you, and he's really going to be mostly for the more end game players and teams. That kind of limits his overall potential, I think, as a champion, but top tier, man.
Yeah.
When you're doing 500k a hit, it's pretty nice.
Do people usually build him with accuracy to land that weekend? I guess it depends if you have a decreased defense champion.
It definitely depends. It depends if you have weekend already in your squad. So if you pair him with somebody like a Draco or a Geomancer, you don't need to.
But if you don't, for me, definitely run it with accuracy, right?
I run mine with accuracy, and it works really good. So
cool.
Yeah,
all right,
really nice champion. Number 14 we've got is going to be another DPS champion. This is somebody you got from your login. If you played the game for a while, if you're really new, I feel bad for you, but we're talking about Ninja here. So just an incredible damage dealer with a bonkers passive where his damage just kind of ramps up over time, makes him incredibly good for the clan boss specifically. And the world record for an unkillable team damage wise uses a ninja and utilizes those skills. So he's really, really strong, really good damage dealer. Of course, you know, he has incredibly annoying ability on his A1, gives himself a turn meter boost, so he doesn't even work for all affinities. But the thing is, I've seen him be able to be used for most of the teams we have out there, from the budget unkillable all the way up to a myth fu type team. So there are lots of ways we've been able to figure out how to use this champion, which makes him viable for most comps, just not all affinities, which makes him a bit more annoying. But his damage potential is pretty otherworldly, which is why he's on the list.
Makes sense. Ninja amazing against every boss in the game for the most part, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. There we go.
All right, number 13, we've got Skull Crusher. He's one of 3 counterattack champions in this game. He brings an incredibly good ally protection champion, or ally protection ability. Plus, he gets unkillable on himself. He's really, really good. And especially, I think, for early and mid game accounts, I actually prefer him over some of the other counterattack champions because of that ally protection ability. It's so strong for your teams, guys. Yeah. So definitely an excellent champion. Somebody I have pretty high up on my list, I'd say, at 13.
Yeah, definitely. And I think he's definitely deserving to be there. We're still seeing like the most common builds are like still kind of lifesteal, or has that shifted over the years?
Obviously, lifesteal's kind of left the meta at this point. We have so many champions that bring leech, like Grush, who's, you know, a log and reward champion. We also have so many, good healers in this game that we don't necessarily need to have lifesteal on our Skull Crusher anymore. I think we're probably going to get more out of a stalwart set, or even like immortal gear. However, that said, lifesteal's still really valuable, especially if you're struggling with healing. Making sure that your ally protection champion has enough HP to stays alive is pretty vital. So if that's the way you need to go, I think that's a very valid approach to it, and we'll get you good results. Number 12 on my list here is a personal favorite. And maybe, God, I really want to put them higher on the list, but I really feel like this is where they go. I'm going to be talking about Godseeker Aniri, an amazingly good champion, hits as hard as some of the legendaries like Iron Brago out there, brings some really solid healing abilities and buff extension, which enables a lot of the more advanced comps that we have. But even if you don't use an advanced comp, she's really good by extending those buffs, makes the more traditional clan boss teams that much easier to build because you're keeping your buffs on everybody. Just really, really strong champion.
Yeah, overall, great, underrated healer too, you know, and she increases the amount of healing all allies receive by 10%, you know, as a passive effect in her kit. Really, really cool to have that double revive, everything else. So yeah, totally agree with you on Godseeker. Number 11.
Now we get into some of the more specifically good champions here, I think, at this point. And I'm going to be talking about Deacon Armstrong. I absolutely love this champion. Wish I could bring Deacon higher, but we're talking decreased defense and leech. These are the debuffs Deacon brings, but more importantly, one of only 3 champions that can place an increased speed or increased turn meter boost on a 2-turn duration. And the reason why is because he gets an extra turn when he casts that turn meter boost on himself. Very, very strong champion. Really, really love him.
Cool. I love that he made it this high on the list as well. Cool to see.
Yeah.
All right.
The next one on my list is going to be at number 10, Seeker. And Seeker is the one that enables all these crazy comps like the Bat Eater teams. Well, he's the bat in those teams.
Right.
And yeah, he's just so good. 30% turn meter boost, 2-turn duration.
You're not doing this tonight.
What?
You're not doing this.
Not listening.
You're not doing this
Picturing
tonight.
CC.
Stop doing this.
Only really good for unkillable teams. Where Deacon can be used for a variety of squads, Seeker's really only going to be good for unkillable teams. Gives you that increased attack buff, which makes your champions hit even harder. He brings a lot to those teams, and definitely, I think, top 10 champion for this type of stuff. He's really, without him, we wouldn't be able to do half these comps that we do try to make.
Yeah, so true. Seeker it's weird too, because did you, like, I don't know if you invented the Bat Eater comp or if you coined it or what, but like before, because no one used him in unkillable comps, and all of a sudden everybody used him, you know?
Yeah. I think I coined it. I think I did coin it. I could be wrong about that. I didn't invent it though. That was invented by Rust, who used to play the game, doesn't anymore, but incredibly smart guy. But yeah, it's an incredibly it's such a smart team. I really do appreciate it.
You know, we got the Batman movie out right now. I'm sure you've seen those royalty figures. You know, it's a good time for Seeker right now.
Yep.
Okay,
go
10.
watch Batman. I get 2 cents off of every movie.
Did you watch it?
Okay.
Did you watch it?
I haven't seen it yet. Haven't seen it yet.
My viewers will let us know if it's good.
Next on the list, we've got at number 9, Martyr. Martyr is just an insanely good champion. Now, Martyr used to not be great for clan boss, and I usually actually prefer Skull Crusher to her. Because ally protection is that strong. But now that we use Unkillable Team so much more, there really are very few champions that come anywhere near to what Martyr can do for your team. We're talking about bringing counterattack. We're talking about bringing increased defense. So if you have defensive champions like a Rosin, they will shine in an Unkillable Team. And also we're talking about decreased defense on the A1. So having counterattack means any skill or debuff that you have on your A1 is going to be more likely to land because you get twice as many shots at it. Mm-hmm. And she bringing decreased defense on that A1 means that you don't need to bring in another decreased defense champion. Very, very strong. On top of that, she hits incredibly hard if you build her with a good crit damage and crit rate. So absolutely love Martyr.
I love that you include her on the list too, because I feel like Martyr, out of the 3 counterattack champions, I feel like she's like the last to be mentioned. Sometimes, I guess maybe Skull Crusher, but either way. When you look at it, you hit the nail on the head, right? Decreased attack, counterattack, increased defense, decreased defense, and a great aura. Like, what else? And damage. What else are you looking for, All right.
There's so much to love there.
That's it. All right, number 7?
Number
8.
7, okay.
Yeah.
So number 7 here, we've got a champion that I actually kind of forgot about when we were first doing this. So I have to slide this one in there because I was talking about champions that can do those turn meter boosts or increase speed on a 2-turn duration. One of those champions is gotta be Michal, the Salad, Mashaled. He's just incredibly good at that. He has that extra turn when he places that increased speed buff, and it allows us to build these 2-1 ratio teams. Now, he's not as universally good as champions like Seeker or Deacon, but the thing Mashaled does is just hits incredibly hard. Also brings a leech debuff, which is just so strong. I mean, I could definitely see an argument of having Mashaled lower on this list, but he definitely makes this list, and that's why I think we got to put him in here.
Okay, sounds good. He's like my number 1-ish, maybe number top 3 for Hydra too. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just a beast, with that A1 hitting everybody. Okay, but yeah, love him on the list. So totally agree with you. Okay, who we got next?
Okay. Now we get to the real. These are the elite of the elite
tier?
that we're getting into now. Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna start off with. I think we're gonna start off with number 7 is going to be Riho, and Riho is just an absolutely insane champion, right? We're not only talking literally. Does everything you need in Clan Boss in one kit, right? You're talking about massive healing. You're talking about blocking debuffs. Talking about bringing every debuff in the game you could possibly want onto her kit. It's all on a 3-turn cooldown, so she's super easy to tune around, and just insanely good. She even has a cleanse. Like, there's nothing that if you want something on your team, she will have it, right? She's like instant cheat code.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Which then brings us to number 6, and 6 is a tie. Okay, I've got 2 champions, and it's really hard. This is how I was able to slide Mashaled in. You've got a tie at 6.
I was wondering, Deadwood. Okay.
So these are two DPS champions. These are 2 damage dealing champions that are incredibly good for your team. And they do it in different ways, and they're just incredibly strong. One is going to be Draco, who we all know just does so much for you. Decreased defense, weaken, poisons, so much utility on top of bringing really good raw damage.
Yeah.
And then the other one is Geomancer, who is just, there's nobody like Geomancer, right? And we're talking about that HP burn, bringing that weaken, but reflects so much damage and is really good regardless of the level of your account, because you don't have to build him with a lot of attack or a lot of damage in order to get a lot of damage out of him because of his passive ability. Obviously you can, and he will deal really good damage for your team, but you don't have to. And so either these 2 champions, I feel like if you drop them on your team, it doesn't matter what level your account is. We're talking about super high end, or we're talking, brand new. They're going to be incredibly good for your Clan Boss team, and not super difficult to tune around either. So that's 10.
I love it, man.
Well, I guess it's 11 champions.
Yeah, I love it too, because Geo being epic too. Like it's easier to get him than the other champions.
Yep.
And again, same thing with Michal. I think that he is like probably up there, top 5 certainly for Hydra personally. So a lot of, you can use Geo almost everywhere, I feel like. But yeah, good call out. All right.
Absolutely. Okay, now we get to the top 5. Now we're in it.
Okay.
We're in it. Top 5. Okay. Best 5 champions, in my opinion, right? For Clan Boss.
And this is where the video froze last time, so this is uncharted territory here, Deadwood. Here
Totally new.
Help me
All right, we're going to start off with number 5, maybe my favorite champion, one of my first legendaries. Really started to get me into Clan Boss because she is so amazing at it. And of course, I'm talking about Valkyrie. I mean, the biggest shields in this game are from Valkyrie.
Boom.
Counterattack, again, just an insane champion. Now, she has a passive ability that makes her kind of hard to tune sometimes. You can tune around it. I've done it many times. But, you know, a little bit tricky. But the thing is, that shield will let you survive. Honestly, if you build your Valkyrie right, give her increased defense, the shield, just the shield, will keep your team alive for 40 turns.
Yeah.
I think easy, which is incredible when you don't have to worry. You're not even talking about ally protection. You're not talking about anything else.
Yeah.
Like, just that alone is so strong. Yeah.
I
Pair
run
with the
Valkyrie
Brogni and...
Yeah, I run her
Done.
on my main team. It's the same team that you helped me with like a year ago. I still run her on it, so totally agree with you there on Valkyrie. She's a beast.
She's phenomenal, and which takes us to the next 2 spots where if you have Valkyrie, she's going to be for traditional teams. Then we start talking about unkillable teams, and the best unkillable teams right now revolve around these next 2 champions.
Okay.
The first one is the newest one. I run a team that uses her. It called the Myth Fu. She's the myth in all of these comps. It is the myth.
What is there about no that you just don't understand?
One of the few champions where you can run, actually one of 2 champions where her alone can run an unkillable team for you. She's the only unkillable champ you need, and you can have a fully unkillable team with just her. And, you know, the reason why is she has everything on a 3-turn cooldown, a 1-turn block damage for everybody. She brings incredible healing as well. She's really good for Hydra, actually. She also extends the duration of buffs, which helps enable some of these more complex and advanced tunes that are absolutely insane damage-wise.
Amazing addition to the game. You know, gave people another option. And, well, I'll let you do the next one. Then I'll ask my question after that, because I think
Sure thing.
Think it will
Okay.
pertain. Yeah.
That makes sense. All right, so the next one is obviously, if you haven't figured it all out already, number 3 on this list is Maneater. I mean, the most commonly used comps in this game, we're talking about the budget unkillable, the double Maneater, easy double Maneater, and the Batman teams, Bat Eater squad. These all revolve around Maneater. He has a block debuffs a skill on his kit. He has unkillable for 2 turns. The block debuffs is 2 turns. It's all on a 5-turn cooldown, which makes him trickier to tune. But utilizing champions like Painkeeper and, you know, or bring 2 of them in, we're able to work around that. Absolutely insane. Some of the easiest comps for early players are revolved around Maneater. He's completely changed the game as far as Clan Boss goes for pretty much everybody in this that plays Raid Shadow Legends. I mean, I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
But, you know,
you're right.
Coming up with the budget unkillable, coming up with the Bat Eater squad, I think those have absolutely changed. The easy double Maneater changed the game for most people in this game.
Absolutely. And I love how none of the fundamentals, Painkeeper, Seeker, Maneater 1, Maneater 2, no legendaries, you know, like your DPS or whatever, it can be whoever you have available. Love that too. Now, my question for you is, out of these 2 unkillable kind of captains of the teams, for lack of a better word, which do you prefer? And is it worth, to the one that you prefer, is it worth switching? Or if you have one unkillable, are you pretty much good with one unkillable?
I think that's a great question, actually. This is something that people kind of ask a lot, where we show off these new teams and people are like, ooh, I want to build it.
Like,
should I build it?
He's looking at you right now,
right.
Man. Be careful. He's eyeing you up. Maneater wants you to pick him.
All right. Hold on. Look, I got to give an honest opinion here. Hold on.
Call 911.
So, guys, what I would say is this. If you... Look, there's 2 ways to approach this, right? If you want to have fun, you want to build something new and different, then build something new and different, right? I mean, this is a game, right? We should be playing. And that's why I do all the Clan Boss stuff. I enjoy that part of the game, right? I enjoy that creative aspect of it, creating a new team. So if that's something that appeals to you, heck yeah, go for it, right? But if your goal is just to get that top chest, just to do the damage you need to get the rewards that you want.
Do you ever look at someone and wonder, what is going on inside their head?
As long as you're already getting to the point you need, there's no real need to switch, right? If you're doing a 1-key team, I mean, that's the end goal. Really, right? That's the end goal. So there's no need to switch from one squad to another. If you're doing 2-key to get that top chest and Ultra Nightmare, again, there's not really a big urge to get there, because the truth of the matter is, regardless of what kind of team you run, it's still going to be dependent on the gear that you can bring and whether you can make the speeds. Those are usually the 2 big hurdles that you have to get to, right?
Sure.
And so if you're already doing a 1-key team or close to it, that's probably not going to change much by switching comps, right?
Yeah.
If you're already doing a 2-key team or close to it, that's probably not going to change much by switching comps. Unless you really, change like kind of the way you're going. So if you're running a budget unkillable, if you're running a easy double man eater, and you're doing 2-key damage, you're still going to do 2-key damage unless you switch to a more damage, more faster team, right? Like a bad eater team or a myth air team. These are teams that go a lot faster, and so their potential's a lot higher, right? They're 1-key potential teams, a lot easier. If you're already doing that with a bad eater team, there's no real need to switch to a myth air. But what I will say is if you are starting from scratch and you haven't built any of these teams before, if you can make the speeds, those myth air, those Mythbuster teams are going to be more damage heavy, and they're going to be easier to get to that 1-key for the same amount of gear. And so I would probably recommend starting with those because of that. The bad eater teams are a lot easier to build, however, and they still have good 1-key potential. So, I think it's, kind of pick your poison on which one you prefer. But I think if, push came to shove, I would recommend the Myth Air, the Myth Fu teams over the other ones.
Okay, so great. So it sounds like stick with what you have if you've already built a team for the most part. And if not, or unless you want to have some fun experimenting. Other than that, if you have the gear especially, then you kind of prefer Demitha, especially because of she has the heals, the increased duration, stuff like that.
Yeah, I like the Demitha teams myself personally, but I mean, it's... You don't have to make the change, and if you're already doing good results, I don't recommend making a change. Okay. But if if you want to have fun, or you're like, which one do I choose? If you're doing from scratch, I do recommend the Demitha teams.
So was that 3 and 4 or 2 and 3? I forget.
That was 3 and 4. That was 4 and 3. So 3 and 4, 4 and 3.
Okay, so top 2. Here we go. 2. I think I can guess them, but I want to hear from you. I don't want to guess wrong.
Well, there's 2 that I haven't named so far that are pretty good.
We all know one. We all know one, but I'm interested in. I'm going to tell my viewers. I think this is going to be one of them, right? That's not the obvious one, or the maybe. And then the super obvious one is obviously this dude. All right, go ahead.
I can't see that screen, so
Number 2, who you got?
That's a good way to do it. Number 2. Krisk.
Okay.
Now, I know most people are going to be like, hey, this guy should have been number 1, right?
Sure,
Why isn't he number 1?
Yep.
He's insane, right? He brings literally everything you want: ally protection, increased speed, decreased defense, decreased attack. Like, the guy's insane. Buff extension, right? He literally has everything. Yeah, in fact, like those Infinity teams, he's the only one. If you don't have Krisk, you're not going to be successful at building a team like that. But the reason why he's not number 1, I would say, and the reason why he is number 2, he does all those amazing things. But the reason why there's a ceiling on him in this respect is that he's a little harder to speed tune because he doesn't give himself that speed buff. And that's significant when you're trying to actually speed tune a team. The other limitation is he's definitely not going to be good for any unkillable teams, right? Like, there's no point in bringing him in for an unkillable team. Yeah. He's just too good at all this other stuff he does. But it does get a little tricky trying to speed tune with him because he brings that decreased defense and that decreased attack, but only after being hit. So usually there's a turn where you don't have that. Like, he doesn't usually take the stun, right? Makes it a little bit trickier. I mean, these are all... Look, he's number 2 on the list.
He's amazing. Yeah, we love Krisk before you guys. Yeah. All right, so who is number 1?
All right, number 1. He's also super hard to get, Void Legendary. Number 1, though, Underpriest Brogni. And, I think this one is pretty easy to see. His shield extension.
I forgot that you didn't even mention him. I forgot that he was not on the list already. He was not my guess of the other one. But go on.
Oh, interested. Okay, I'm here. I want to hear who your guess was. But yeah,
I would take, just to be clear for my viewers, I would take Brogni over my guess. Go ahead. All right.
Underpriest Brogni increases shields, right? Blocks debuffs. All this on a 3-turn cooldown. Can hit pretty darn hard if you build him right. But he's got that HP burn. He just does so many amazing things. But the best part, of course, is his passive ability, where you put him in Giant Slayer Mastery, and every time an ally has a shield up and they get hit, there's that 30% chance of getting that Giant Slayer proc to go. So for somebody that enables your team to function by bringing that block debuff, by bringing that increased shield ability, or shield growth ability, I don't know how you phrase it, but for something that he's really like a support champion that does insane damage because of that passive. And so that's one of the reasons why I think he's so good, because he really really enables so many of these teams to function. And the earlier game player you are, the more valuable he becomes. Even though he's incredibly valuable late game, right? But this is why I'm not saying he's necessarily the best clan boss champion, but I do think he's the most valuable clan boss champion, and he would be number one on my list as far as champions I'd want to have for my clan boss team.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would disagree, unless they just wanted the Void to take Chris over. Chris is just so good in every area of the game. But same thing with Brogni.
Yes.
So there you have it. That's our top 15. But my guess, by the way, was, and apparently not even on the list, awkward, was going to be Iron Brago. You know, but just because of the defense escalation on the passive, the decreased attack, the increased defense, blah 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 blah. But yeah, definitely Brogni, can't argue with that.
He's insanely good. I love Iron Brago for sure. He's just not he's too easy to replace him.
He's not fundamental, because you can get an increased defense champion and get an increased buff duration champion, and then you've got half, not really, but you have some Brogni utilities. So I see your thought process there. Listen, Deadwood Jedi, you've given me too much of your time. I appreciate it so much, man. Thank you so much. My viewers, go check out all the Deadwood stuff. Thank you so much for coming on the channel, man.
Dude, my pleasure. Honestly, I really just enjoy hanging out with you. It's always a good conversation,
likewise,
good time.
Man.
So
likewise.
yeah. I got twice the conversation I usually do. This is a win for me.
I love it.
About.
And I'll have your list memorized, is set in stone here in the mind. But hey, Deadwood, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Guys, check him out.
Yeah, my
Thank you
pleasure.
for watching. And as always, take care, guys.